What's up, everybody? If my voice sounds different, or if I'm quieter today, it's because I got a sore throat. Probably got a cold coming on or whatever, but I still want to make videos and stuff. Cookie. Fat cat. So, today I am reviewing the long-awaited movie that I've been wanting to see for a very long time, I'll just say that. Basically since they announced its completion well over a year ago. X Japan's documentary We Are X. Now, I just got this movie April 25th at around 2, I think. Probably about 2 p.m. It is now April 26th at about a little before 5:30. I've already watched this movie like 2 times. I love this movie so much. So, I'm not gonna go into a whole story on the band because I already did that in my previous X Japan related video, their review of their second album. So if you want to know more about them, just go and watch that one. I don't even know how in-depth I went into the band on that one, other than just the album. But basically, this documentary is different than most other band music-related documentaries that I've seen, where like the Beatles Anthology, for instance, which is probably my favorite ever band documentary. It's chronicling their story from the very beginning all through the years until the disbandment of the Beatles. And hey, no, stop scratching up the fucking furniture. And We Are X doesn't exactly do that, not direct at least. The documentary focuses on 2 things: the days leading up to their Madison Square Garden performance, October 11th back in 2014 in New York, and the band's history somewhat. It seems a little bit more like it focuses on the days leading up to the performance, which I could see why, because that was a huge deal for them to perform Madison Square Garden. It was huge for them. So the documentary opens with pretty interesting imagery, which kind of plays throughout the whole movie, like the way that they got the, let me think of the words, the contrast that they use of old band photos and everything. I really like the way that they did that. They had like a really weird kind of smoke effect that encompassed a lot of the pictures and like purple smoke and all that. I really enjoyed the way that they did that for a lot of the imagery. The thing that seemed a tad disappointing though was that when I watched the deleted scenes for this, they seemed to cut out a lot of the interviews with the rest of X Japan. The film mainly focuses on Yoshiki, the drummer, the founder of the band, which, you know, rightfully so, it could be focused more on him since the band wouldn't exist without him. And it focuses a bit more on Toshi, the singer. They were childhood friends that grew up together, that formed the band together. Toshi was the reason that the band broke up. But I just wish that they focused a little bit more on the other members. They barely even gave much acknowledgement to Heath, I believe. That's just the way I feel about it. Like, they had deleted interviews that could have been kept in the movie, I feel, with Heath, Pata, Sugizo, but they didn't keep them in for some reason. I wish that they had involvement with the rest of the band. They had more involvement with Taiji and Hide, though, the deceased members. The way that they played out the documentary, I wish that they had involved more information about their earlier career, specifically from the late 70s to the mid 80s, which is a time frame that doesn't seem like it was very well documented. You know, there's some demos and audio clips out there of the band between that time. Maybe a few pictures here and there, but not really a whole lot. Most of the band's history that people know take place from 1987, 88 onward. So I wish that there was more involvement with the early years of the band as well. They did go a little bit more into detail about when Toshi, the singer, was brainwashed, which was the reason why the band disbanded. They went more into that too. The only thing that they did not talk about, though, was the reason why they fired Taiji, their original bassist, in 1992. When they started talking about it, Yoshiki just said that it was too painful to talk about. He shouldn't have done what he did, and then they just cut away from that and went to some other story. That, to me and to a lot of other people, was very disappointing. It has never been specified as to why Taiji was fired from X Japan. Yoshiki also said that he didn't know if it was a good or bad decision, but he felt like it was a good decision at the time. Apparently, he had crossed the line of the band's rules, and they just had to kick him from the band. It's still never been exactly specified. Taiji himself, in his autobiography, stated that it had to do with an income gap between him and the rest of the band with Yoshiki, because Yoshiki was making more money than the rest of the band, which, I believe because he was their primary songwriter, he had a lot to do with all the matters of, meetings and legal matters and press and all that. A lot of it was Yoshiki, on top of the songwriting and the instrumentation and all of that. Why was I doing this? I'm mimicking a piano for some reason. So Yoshiki's position, he did deserve to get paid more, but if the band had been a bit more involved in X Japan's overall process as a band, their overall growth, I'm not saying that they weren't involved. Everybody was involved very much. They all did their parts. But it's just that Yoshiki did so much more for the band. He was willing to die for the band, he said himself. And I guess Taiji was upset that he wasn't gaining the income that he wanted, which was apparently why he was fired. Yoshiki said that it was musical differences, which I don't exactly see how that would correlate with crossing the band's rules. Musical differences, if you don't agree with it, then, you don't agree with it. You don't want that kind of music, you just tell them that. And if they continue to push and push, then that is maybe when you would try and fire them, or they would just quit on their own. But, we'll never know now. We'll never know. A lot of people say it might have to do with drugs, too, because in Japan, drugs is a huge, huge no-no over there. Illegal substances, of course. But yeah, we'll never know. And I wished, though, or I wish that they had added, a full version of Levinas in the movie. A full band version of the song, because it played a little bit through the credits, it cut a little bit into the song towards the second verse, and then cut out before the end of the song so that it could play the rest of the credits while showing visuals of the Madison Square Garden performance. I wish that they had included full band version. That's something that I would have enjoyed too. Lots of appearances. You got Stan Lee, you got Marilyn Manson, Gene Simmons, you got what was his name? Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit. You got one of the guys from Guns N' Roses. You got lots of people that appear in the movie. Unfortunately, for a short time. A lot of the cameos of these bigger artists talking about X Japan were for very, very, very quick, momentary clips, including George Martin, but his appearance was only in the end credits as well. I found that a bit disappointing. But overall, the documentary was amazing, really. It was amazing. That's why I enjoyed it so much, and because it did take a different approach. It wasn't just, let's tell the story of the band from beginning to end. They added the 4 days before the Madison Square Garden performance, all the behind-the-scenes bits, everything leading up to the performance. I did enjoy that as well. Plus, the DVD has features. It has a few of the performances from the last live, all the deleted scenes and interviews, which one of the deleted scenes I wish that they kept in the movie. It was Yoshiki going back to his old high school that he and Toshi went to. And he went into the gymnasium where X Japan first performed. And I did actually hear a rare audio clip of one of their early performances in that gymnasium. And I wish that they kept it in the movie, because that is a very vital piece of the band's history there. As well as his visit to an X Japan museum that they cut out for some reason. I wish that they had kept all that in the movie, as well as the deleted interviews, like I said, with the other band members. Though it did seem that Pata's memory, it's not doing very well at all, because when asked of his childhood, the first record that he bought, why he started playing guitar, like he couldn't really remember any of that kind of stuff. He couldn't remember his own childhood and what it was like, which I can see that happening when you get a lot older, like when you're in your 90s or something. But Pata's only, I think, in his early 50s, so this might correlate with his drinking problems, maybe. I know that that's something that can happen. But I would like to hear a lot more on Pata's backstory, but he can't even recall it himself, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, overall, We Are X is an amazing documentary. I will highly recommend this. If you are a fan of X Japan, you've probably already seen it. I mean, come on. This movie's been hyped up since late 2015. So you've probably already seen it if you are a fan. If you're not a fan of X Japan, and you just like music-related documentaries, then you might enjoy this. You might enjoy this. It was very, very entertaining. Very poetic as well, though Yoshiki did discuss a lot about death, because he had to deal with 3 people that he was very close to committing suicide, which, I mean, I wouldn't even know how to deal with something like that, but he has, and it's good for him, So, if you've seen the movie, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not going to rate the movie. I'm going to try and work with a system that I don't exactly rate the albums. I will just recommend them. Or it'll be on a scale of, like, I do not recommend this, I do recommend this, and I highly recommend this. So, if you are an X Japan fan, I highly recommend it. If you're just a music fan, I recommend it. I don't exactly know if you would like it. It is different, like I said, from most music documentaries. But a great movie overall. So thank you all for watching. I like how I am wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt. I was talking about him. This is one of my favorite shirts, by the way. I really like this one. Sweet. Look at this. Sweet dreams. I will also do a review on the soundtrack, maybe. I have tried filming multiple videos on the soundtrack already, like probably like maybe 5 or 6 different takes of a review on this, and it's just getting very, very irritating having to keep redoing it over and over because my camera keeps running out of space or whatever. You know, I have to stop or whatever, but I do have the soundtrack right here, so now I have both the movie and the soundtrack. Maybe I'll film this right after, I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.